Sports Extra Time and a special treat, a guy that I think a lot of us grew up on. I know I did. Tales from the Ring this evening, Potawatomi Casino. It's going to be Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, and this man, Mean Gene Okerlund. Gene, thanks for joining us in the studio today.
Well, the pleasure is mine, especially back here in a city that I really call one of the great starting points in my career.
Yeah, Crusher Country and all that good fun stuff. And I gotta
Absolutely.
ask, Mean Gene, has it become basically part of your name now? And how did you get the nickname Mean Gene?
I fought that. That was the brainchild of Jesse Ventura, our good friend and former governor.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing now. Lives out of the country 6 months a year. But anyway, no, he gave me the moniker, and it's kind of stuck. Initially, I didn't like it because they had some guy on a gong show that they called Mean Gene.
Okay.
The dancing machine.
Right.
Which wouldn't be me.
AWA, WCW, WWE. You worked for the three biggest companies in wrestling. That's got to be a good badge of honor for you.
Well, and withstood the test of time. Last time I checked, 42 years. So it's something that was a good fit for me, and I've had a good life. And I'm still doing it today and working with the vintage collection, which is kind of morphed out of Madison Square Garden classics. But it's the old stuff with the old guys. I like it.
Going back to just getting your start, how did you kind of learn your craft? I'm always curious for people that are on this side of the mic. Like
and you're asking me.
And I'm asking you how you got these guys, like whether it was a noted superstar or a younger guy, how you got them over in the world of pro wrestling.
Well, you know, I think it's very important, as you know, Lance, you got to listen. And whatever they come up with, you can embellish it or you can weave it to make them look good, to make them look bad. There are the good guys, the bad guys, the baby faces, the heels, but you kind of help manufacture that character, that persona. And it could be done verbally. Of course, in the ring, you can get a lot of heat there, too.
That's true.
Kind of like at home.
That's true. Yeah, I get that, too, a lot of times. One famous promo that I instantly remember with you, and maybe you remember it, maybe you don't. There was one with the Macho Man back in the heyday of the 80s where he said Convocation Center, and without missing a beat, you said Athletic Convocation Center, and without missing a beat, he said that doesn't matter right now. I mean, is that the chemistry that you had with some of these guys where you guys could just come up with stuff like that?
And it was spontaneous. You're playing off each other. The same with Hogan. Some of the guys that I worked with in my heyday, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and the Macho Man certainly in there too. But after a while, it kind of became automatic. Kind of like, do I want to say Burns and Allan? Maybe Hope and Crosby.
Something
Who knows?
like that.
Yeah.
Who did you like working with more than name guys? You mentioned Hogan, Flair, Macho Man, or did you like helping a young guy kind of establish his career and send him into stardom?
I like the young guys too. There was a kid by the name of Billy Kidman.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't real articulate when he first started out. And he just stumbled all over a 2.5-minute interview and stuck his foot in his mouth and elsewhere. And at the end of it, I said, you know what? I like the way this guy presents himself. He's a breath of fresh air. Kevin Nash never forgot it. He's a breath of fresh air. What are you talking about? It was horrible.
And how fun was it to ride the roller coaster that was wrestling in the 80s? WWF at the time was huge. WCW, you guys were seemingly on a rocket ship with the NWO. It had to be some pretty good times.
Yeah, but I think the tipping point was the mid-'80s at the then WWF, and WrestleMania was, I say, the starting point because that changed the landscape of wrestling from the old smoky National Guard armories and beer bellies and throwing the garbage in the ring to all of a sudden, like your great venue here, I don't know if it's the Bradley Center still and the United Center and these various. Now everything is going outdoors.
Right.
This year WrestleMania is going to be at the MetLife Stadium, Giant Stadium in East Rutherford. So 100,000 people. Somebody got to be making money.
You got that right. AWA, you're in AWA country. People still love those letters. talk about the Crusher, talk about the Baron, talk about those days when you were kind of getting your start, and it was special times.
Yeah, and in a very unique chemistry. It was Vern Gagne's operation, to be sure, and Vern was a big name in Milwaukee, but throughout the AWA, and guys like Maurice Mad Dog Vachon. And then, of course, there were the perennial losers, like Sodbuster Kenny J, and a guy you know, or did know, he's in the dirt now, of course, George Scrap Iron Gadaski.
True.
First match was where?
Rice Lake, Wisconsin, against Ric Flair. They should build a statue or something. I should start that drive.
If not, put something up at the post office.
Yeah, I should. Right. At least a plaque or something like that. How would you change your interviewing style? And you kind of touched on it before, for a heel or a babyface. It always seemed like, I remember the one where Hogan was really going bad. Buff Bagwell was in a wheelchair. He pushed him over. That promo to me was one where you sold it, and Hogan was really, really bad.
Yeah, I think you do it there with the questions you throw at them. The easy ones, they can walk through those. Give them a tough one, and they don't know the answer. Then you get them kind of staggering and stuttering and backing off, and then they get upset, and then you get the heat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then just all the guys that you've worked with over the years. I mean, to me, some of those legendary interviews with Hogan, they're still on YouTube. People watch them by the millions. They love them.
Yeah, well, you know, I like to forget a few of them. When he first started out, he was a little rough.
Yeah.
But he kind of, you know, carved out a real niche for himself, and he still is today, I think, the face of wrestling.
Yeah. And working with Flair, was he one of the ones that got it the earliest, that Mike's skills were almost equal to what you did in the ring, just with what he could do and deliver?
Well, Hogan, as the boys would say back in the locker room, was not the greatest worker.
Okay.
But he could put rear ends in seats, and he did that with the combination of his in-ring charisma, the leg drop, who knows, but then his promos. Let me tell you something, boys, you know. And he just had the magic, and he even changed to a heel back in the old NWO, and he was the biggest heel in the territory.
Right.
So here you got a guy that's your biggest babyface, your biggest heel, and you could do both at the same time, literally.
Wow. And then a thing like tonight at the Potawatomi Casino, how much do you enjoy that, getting together with Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, and talking about these stories and talking about stuff that's still near and dear to people, no matter how long ago it was?
Well, Lance, it taxes the mind a little bit because I can go back a long, long time. When I was a kid, I used to watch wrestling on Channel 11 in Minneapolis back in the old days, and it was very raw. The production values were modest, to say the least. But, you know, I got great stories from myself as a fan, then being part of the business up until today, and still working in it.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you look into that camera and get me over and sell a promo about me?
Lance, I got to tell you something. My very dear, close, personal, longtime friend, Mike's skills are incredible, and what this man says you can take to the bank.
Wow. I think you actually put me over, Gene. I appreciate that.
I hope I did. Where's the check?
Yeah, exactly. We're all looking to get paid. Me
you got
Gene,
it.
Thank you very much for the time.
And we'll see you tonight.
That sounds good. Me, Gene Okerlund, joining us right here in studio. Thanks for watching Sports Extra once again, everybody.